Good afternoon. How are you doing today? Dominique here from Body Mind Fitness. I am a personal trainer, small group yoga teacher, and owner of, I already said it, Body Mind Fitness, but thank you so much for taking the time to spend some time with me today. So I was giving it a little bit of thought before pressing record on exactly how I wanted today's conversation to go. And I'm not going to lie, I'm definitely somebody who really wants to give you all the information right now. And my gut instinct was to go over everything from the previous videos, but if you haven't watched the previous day's videos, you're just gonna have to go back and watch them because I wanna make sure to be very respectful of your time as well. So just a quick little recap of what we've been doing. This is part 4 of 4 of what to do if Kegels aren't for you. So I got a lot of questions when recently I mentioned in a blog post that you might not even need Kegels. And that is because a lot of us carry quite a bit of tension through our pelvic floor. So then the question was, well, if you're not doing Kegels, how can you create an environment where your pelvic floor can function optimally? So the first week we talked about breath. The second week we talked about alignment. And then last week we talked about myofascial release and how to create environments where you can release the pelvic floor. So again, if you are interested in finding out more of those, you're going to have to check out the previous videos. Today is all about putting these 3 tools, breath, alignment, and, well, the myofascial release doesn't really come into play for this particular thing, but putting all these tools together into movement. It is one thing to lay there or sit there and just breathe in the ways that I explained, or to find that perfect alignment when you're standing completely still or sitting in your car. But at the end of the day, when we come into situations where our pelvic health is, I don't know, would the appropriate word be compromised, then we want to make sure, this often happens when we are doing movement. So we went running one day and we peed ourselves either during or slightly after, or we were lifting heavy and we started feeling pressure on the pelvic floor. So when we incorporate that alignment and breath, we can start to create environments where we can alleviate these symptoms. We can manage them, or in some cases even prevent them, because it doesn't matter if you've had kids or not. It's even just as we age, our muscles start to become weak, just like any other muscle in our body. And then on top of that, when you don't use a muscle, you lose it. Have you heard of that before? Yeah, I have. Probably too many times. That sounded really like, anyway. Moving on. So, I'm just going to step back here and we're going to talk about a very simple movement. We're going to talk about the squat for all intents and purposes today. I'm not wearing my glasses today, so this looks blurry, so I hope it's not. So we want to set up in a proper squat position. Fact of the matter is everyone can use some more squats in their life, so why not introduce that concept right here, right now? Let's get some squats going. So we talked about inhaling and expanding. On the inhale, the pelvic floor releases. On the exhale, it contracts and lifts. Not because you are voluntarily contracting and lifting, because that would be the Kegel. This is the natural way that our body responds to the breath when everything is working efficiently. Same thing with that release. We are not voluntarily bearing down. We are just allowing this expansion of the pelvic floor to happen, and then with the out breath again, lifting it up. So we want to include the out breath during the part of the exercise where either you are creating the most amount of effort or you are feeling the symptoms arising. So if it's something like peeing your pants, incontinence, might not be so easy to pinpoint, but as you're going through it, and if one strategy doesn't work, you can try another strategy. So let's set up for our squats. We want to bring our feet about just a little bit wider than our hips. Chest is lifted, so we want to come into that nice alignment. I often recommend to my classes that if you want to check the position of your rib cage, you can come into that little ski jump where you lean forward from the ankles, so you feel that in contraction happening through the transversus abdominis, and then try to bring back that feeling of the rib cage back. When we do this, it puts our rib cage in that optimal alignment. We're not lifting and flaring the rib cage, it's nice and balanced. So it's almost like a right side up bowl being your pelvis, and the upside down bowl being your rib cage. When the two are stacked, diaphragm, pelvic floor, stacked one on top of the other, and able to create that downward motion and that lift. They mirror each other beautifully when they are in alignment. So feet just a little bit wider than the hips, toes slightly turned out. We've set up that nice alignment. We've shifted the perineum back between the ankle bones, and we want to keep the chest lifted. So let's talk about a squat here, just in case you don't know how to do a squat. We want to push the hips down and back so the knees stay behind the toes, and then we come back up. Now, if we want to incorporate the breath, the hardest part of the squat movement will be the way up. When you press through the heels and you start to rise back up, it's a lot harder than going down. So we would inhale on the way down and exhale on the way up. Now, a very common thing, and I might have even done it there because I'm talking as I'm trying to do this, is so many people, when they start working out, they almost hold their breath when they initiate the movement, and then they start to breathe out about halfway back up through their squat, for instance, since we're talking about squats. Instead, try to bring yourself to a place where you start to exhale just a moment before you start to rise up. So I'm hoping that you can hear my breath through the microphone. So we're going to inhale on the way down. So when we create that exhale just a moment before we move, then we are already setting up the pelvic floor for success. Remember, the pelvic floor lifts as you breathe out, so it's already started its lift before you even start pushing yourself out of that squat. So as I mentioned previously, there's a lot of people who feel a lot of those symptoms, a lot of that pressure coming up during the hardest part of the movement. However, if you notice that some of those symptoms are still arising, another option is to breathe through the entire movement. So it will take you a little bit longer to execute, but with time, hopefully we can start to get things going properly again, and then you can start playing around with what breathing pattern works best for you, and hopefully everything is going to start to make sense. So if we were going to go that route, we would stand up in our set position, ribs over pelvis, perineum shifting back between the ankle bones. Take a breath in. So again, depending on the situation that you're in, one of those breaths might be better than the other. I encourage you to play around with it. Start playing with it in movement. Glute bridges, any movement you're doing, even a bicep curl can have profound effects with this style of movement. It might not feel like a bicep curl has anything to do with the pressure down there, but again, if you are holding your breath until you're about halfway through that bicep curl, it is going to create a situation where pressure can be placed on the pelvic floor, and we want to make sure that we're starting to steer clear of that. So I think that's about it today. I think that was about the shortest video that I've done as part of this series. So if you have any questions, definitely slip them into the comments. I know that a lot of these conversations can be very sensitive, so if you're worried about posting publicly, I completely understand that. Please know that my inbox is open and available to you. And if you found any of this useful, please let me know. I'd love to create more content that is going to resonate with you. And then on top of that, in just under 2 weeks on November 5th starts the brand new session of small group yoga classes here at Body Mind Fitness in London, Ontario, more specifically Lambeth. And there's a few spots left and 3 different time slots specifically for core and pelvic health. So I've got a morning, an evening, and a weekend class for core and pelvic health. And I would love to have you in there. So aside from that, that's all I've got for today. Thank you again so much for spending this time with me. I know that your time is precious, and it always means so much to you when you take some time out of your day to join me, whether it's through my newsletter or here on live or even in the replay. And just thank you. It always means the world to me. So that's all I've got for today. Again, I'm here if you need me. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.